Chief, is there any chance, even a tiny one, that we can just call this whole thing off now and go home? Before, I would have just made a run for it, but I can't do that now. Something is holding me back, and I really don't like the thought of leaving you high and dry. See what you turned me into? This feels different somehow. It's the end, see? After this, nothing will be like it was before. Some will die, some will survive, but it'll all be totally different. And I'm kind of used to it now. To you and all this. We're like friends, I guess. Just try not to die. I can't stand being sad, so don't do that to me. Either way, whether you win or lose, bye, Chief. After this battle, I'll never set foot on Galerion again. But in the Abyss, I'll always remember how much you did for me. And despite all the dangers, I can still get you my wares even from here. So if you need anything, Chief, you know where to find me.
Not a bad spot to end this war. Formidable, menacing. It has a certain style about it. Seeing as our contract is coming to an end, Commander, let me just say that you are the most impressive client I've ever had the pleasure to work with. And a highly lucrative pleasure it's been, too. It's strong stuff from Garand. What do you think? Of course, it's worth its weight in gold. It's one of my little weaknesses that I refuse to give up. Of course not. Where else would I have had so many adventures? Besides, it's thanks to you that I've been able to add so many accomplishments to my service record, which will boost my rates in the future. You know, it's jobs like this, the ones that are both fun and pay well, that make me love what I do. Huh. Well, it sure wasn't in the name of Iomade. Of course, money's not the be-all and end-all. You dimwits need someone with a clear head on your side, someone to watch your back. I know how you hero types love sacrificing yourselves at the drop of a hat. Now you're talking. Why don't you show me who it is we need to kill to win this war? Aurilu Vorlesh? I'll wish that lady sweet dreams with unalloyed pleasure.
So this is it then? The final push? The last battle where the great heroes will vanquish Aurilu Vorlesh and close the world wound, ridding Galarian of a deadly threat. That is how the Chronicles will tell it, I'm sure. You know very well, my friend, that this was never my war. I was merely following the person who offered me protection. I could not have cared less where you led me. And I still do not care about the cause for which we are fighting. I probably ought to have cast you off, rather than lay my head on the chopping block alongside yours. But I've grown attached to you now. I don't like the idea of you perishing in this place. That is why I shall help you win. Don't thank me. Not here, not now. I simply felt that I ought to tell you the truth. Nothing more. It seems I have grown overly sentimental after all our travels. Rush headlong into battle, come what may? I approve of this plan.
This is it. The last fortress. It's been a long road from the river city to here. We walked and walked and walked along the road, and suddenly, there's no more road. Nobody is ready. It will be scary, very scary. In the last fortress, all the lies will end, and the truth will rise. It's scary, but it's good. Nobody knows what will happen next. People are afraid of the future, so that's why they make it up. They lie to themselves so it's not so scary. They convince themselves and others of the things they make up. But one day the future will come. The story ends, for better or worse. When everything's already happened, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. And there's no reason to lie. The Redeemed Knights say they need me. I think they can manage fine without me, but maybe I really can help them somehow. I think we'll do a lot of good together. Hear that, Soot? It's time.
I am calculating the likelihood of your victory. Taking into consideration the fortifications of Threshold, the long period it has been under demon control, and Arilu Vorlesh, who is personally overseeing the defense, I would give the Crusaders a 30% chance of success at most. Of course, the presence of an illustrious scholar of Golarion in your ranks, meaning me, immediately increases your chances by 5%. If you win, I'll make sure to mention you in my encyclopedia. Aha! With that as an incentive, your chances have increased by 5%. Consider this my contribution to your victory.
At last, this irksome crusade is drawing to a close. All right, it hasn't been that irksome. All in all, it was a fine adventure, and the company was more than adequate. The most important outcome of today, of course, will be that I shall be immortalized in works of art depicting the Fifth Crusade as the most attractive crusader. Perhaps I should reconsider. No. Others can be afraid. But I know who our leader is and what she is capable of. I have never seen you fail to rise to a challenge, no matter how impossible. So leave me and my optimism be. We will win. If anyone should be afraid, it is the wretches inside Threshold. And to the victory feast, I trust?
So, this is where it all ends. When I first crossed paths with you in Neathholm, I never thought I'd end up in the very heart of the world wound. You certainly know how to enjoy yourself. But I feel foolish, out of place. Everyone seems to be feeling the weight of this moment, eagerly preparing to deal a final rebuff to the demon invasion and save Golarion. But for me, it's just one more battle I'm gonna fight because you chose me to be by your side. It's incredible. I'm in this wretched place risking my neck because some uplander wants me to. Windowag, you're an idiot. You uplanders and your disgusting obsession with kisses. Fine, since it's a special occasion. Here you go. No, kisses are still disgusting. I'll never understand what you uplanders see in them. But if you like it so much, maybe I'll kiss you again after we win. One kiss. And you. I know I'm certainly going to survive this fight. How about you try your best to survive as well, Because I swear, if you die, I won't be weeping over your grave. If we're both alive, I'm going to drag you off to some out-of-the-way nook and we'll celebrate our victory on our own. Again, and again, and again. Our years of exile have given us quite the score to settle. And today, the demons will pay for everything.
So this is it then? Threshold. Grubby little spot, isn't it? Looking around, I'm thinking to myself, maybe if we'd built it somewhere else, not in this god's forsaken hole, somewhere nicer, maybe then Arilu, curse her name, wouldn't have revolted. Maybe there would have been no invasion. But anyway, what's the use in wondering? Well, War Chief, are you ready? Ready to thrash all these Fae and Oglins and other Puxies? Ready to boot that king of the grasshoppers back to his magical beetle land? But then, what would we have done with all the witches and mages? Maybe you're right. If we didn't bother them, they wouldn't bother us. Folk live like that in other countries with no problems at all. And they don't have world wounds opening up on them. And then, if you think about it, mages aren't the problem. Problem's them Oglins and Fae that were chomping at the bit to get into our world. Without Aurilu, Discari, that dirty bug, would have just found other allies. Like my worthless brother. Still not long enough for me to know the difference between all the kinds of foul creatures. Remembering their names isn't my job. My job's beating them so hard they don't remember their own. What am I not going to do? That's the easier question. In war, there's only two things you can do. Kill and die. But in times of peace, there's no end to the things a man can do. I think I'll head to Gundren. After all their hardships, they could do with my help. Fight! Chrysochorus! For the Oles clan! For the war chief!
Here we are. The heart of the wound. The huge and terrifying citadel of the abyssal forces. When I was a humble succubus, we feared to speak of it even in a whisper. And now, we're about to kick down the door and race this place to the ground. What a perfect time to have switched to the winning side. You truly are crazy. You're not even afraid of tangling tongues with the abyss itself. If the demon lords were slightly less stupid, they'd run away from you as fast as they could. Come here. My kind? You think I have any familial affection for them? All demons do is slaughter each other. And in your party, I've gained power and influence that I could only dream of in the army of a demon lord. Joining you is the best decision I'd ever made. Enjoy myself. Oh, you know me, I'm always ready. Let's see if those fools in the fortress are ready for what we have in store.
You know what's crazy? I never thought this moment would come so soon. It feels like only yesterday we were trying to bring a blazing Canabras under control, and now we're standing on the cusp of our last battle. Threshold. This isn't how I imagined it. I thought I'd be running happily toward death and trying to do something particularly heroic so I could go out in style. But now, I'm thinking about how we have to win and go back to Dresden because there's so much work still to do there. Me too. You've got a whole army behind you, and we're all ready to win. If we fail now, when we've got this far, then that means the Crusades were always doomed to fail. We've been going easy on these demons for too long, don't you think? It's time to show them one last time what Galarians are capable of.
should we?
for me.
Can't be dismissed as a calculation error. You knew failure was a possibility. Then why? Why? Yes, it's decided. I will tell you the truth before we fight to the death. Would you like to know why I upended your life? This place is my demi-plane. I created it when I was a prisoner in Threshold. I would slip away to conduct my rituals here in secret. This is where I decided to create what mortals would later call the World Wound. This is where I made all my preparations. Do you understand? Escaping was never my goal. I could have easily disappeared from Threshold. I could have passed through it like water through sand. Some believe that I brought Sarkoris to ruin out of revenge, and I suppose there is some truth to that. I did have reason for revenge. You've been to the secret part of my laboratory and know what I'm talking about. Or at least you have an inkling. My laboratory. The old house in the middle of nowhere that marked the entrance to my lab. It was the home of Arilu Vorlesh when I was still a mere mortal. I lived there with my daughter, away from the din of the crowd and sheltered from the keen gaze of the Sarkorian witch hunters. It was a place where the reality of our world was in close proximity to the abyss. A place where I could study the magic forbidden to all Sarkorians. I thought I had hidden my home well, but I was wrong. They found it. They found us. At that hour, I was there, in the laboratory. That damned laboratory I loved so much. I was absorbed in one of my experiments when the hunters arrived on our doorstep. I was sitting at my desk, recording my observations, thoughts, and calculations, as was my habit. That's when I heard the noise outside. The fight was brief. It barely lasted a moment. By the time I sensed that something was amiss and hurried out to see what was happening, it was too late. All I could do was cradle the body of my dead child and cry after their departing soul. I promise. Because they saw her with a scroll she had secretly borrowed from my supply. She was trying to perform a forbidden ritual. Children, they're always drawn to the unknown. But for the Threshold hunters, this child playing with a magical trinket she stole from an adult was just as much of a criminal as the worst demon worshippers. I am not concerned with whether it was justified or not, or with the application of morality, the law, or the teachings of any god. Look around you. This demi-plane. The first time I escaped from my cell and ran here, I was trying to resurrect my daughter. I tried many things, but all my efforts were in vain. The soul had already received Pharasma's judgment and had been sent on the path determined by the gods into the abyss. And when I realized that, I rebelled. But not against my jailers, not against those who had murdered my child, not even against Sarkoris. My uprising was against destiny, death, and the laws that the gods had forced upon our lives. I realized then that I wouldn't be satisfied with simply returning my daughter to life. I had to shatter this order once and for all, and make it so that neither Pharasma and her lackeys, nor death itself, could ever stand between us. Only by stepping beyond the bounds of what had been ordained for mortal kind by obtaining powers that rivaled the divine, could we become free. And with this newfound purpose, I turned myself into a half-demon. Fusing the spiritual essence of the two planes was the only way I could achieve my goal. I let the abyss into my soul, and into this world. I opened the world wound. I danced around 3 demon lords, making them assist me without ever revealing my true intentions. They just believed they were dealing with another power-hungry mortal. But in reality, I was after one thing. I wanted to find what was left of my daughter's soul and give her a new birth. One that would prevent anything from ever harming her again. And then I found you. I chose you because I felt a faint affinity to you. I thought your soul could accept the remains of my daughter's soul, like the soil accepts a seed. I thought that I could bring back my child by tethering the mangled remnants of her soul to a pure mortal soul untouched by the abyss. I thought the power of the Nahindrian crystals would allow me to protect her forever. That I could tear her away from the dominion of mortal nature. But I was mistaken in both assumptions. Now I'm about to face the consequences of my mistake. You will witness them as well. Should not have come here. I, Arilu Vorlesh, the one you call the betrayer, have nothing to offer you but death. Ramzadeh, I will give you the chance to avenge your death. Rise.
Curse you, mortal scum. You have struck ice into my heart. I will devour your souls to loosen its freezing grip. Mortal who ventured recklessly into the abyss has now reached threshold. In Iz, you struck down my creator and master Daskari, but if that makes you dismissive of his echo, if you think I do not pose a threat, then you are greatly mistaken. I was hunting the hand of the inheritor in the abyss, not you. And what a good hunt it was. But now things are different. Now you are the prey I covet more than anything else. Master is in the abyss, in his realm. No, he does not wish to meet with you yet. A demon lord cannot afford 2 deaths in succession. It will kill them permanently. No, I'm not afraid of your threats, and there's nothing you could offer me that would make me withdraw. He lost to you. He lost. The great Daskari himself lost to a mortal. So what happens if I succeed where the great lord failed? If an echo destroys the one its originator could not defeat, who would that make me? What would it prove? I'll risk my life to know. You are not just my enemy, you are my chance. A chance I won't miss.
This is where it happened. It was here that I conducted the ritual, sewing my soul and the essence of the abyss together, feeling the world change around me as every stitch brought Galarian closer to the abyss. And it was here that even though you have no memory of it, I did the same to your soul. A researcher must not have any personal feelings for the subjects of their experiments. And yet, I find myself unable to remain completely detached from the world wound. I created it. I allowed it to be. It holds a place in my heart, even if I'm slowly paying for it with my life. A researcher must be particularly resilient in the face of mistakes, incorrect hypotheses, and failed experiments. You are my failed experiment. I think I'll feel some regret for ending your current life, but you can rest assured that such sentiments will not stop me. You're so adept at magic. Of course, I've been preparing for our meeting. And hopefully I've prepared well. Yes. And no. Even if I could have brought back my daughter, I wouldn't have stopped at that. I wouldn't have been satisfied. Not after what I'd gone through. Not after the things I'd learned. I wanted to become stronger, and I wished the same for my child. I didn't want to be afraid of anything. It wasn't the dogs of Threshold or even Sarkoris itself that threatened us. It was the laws of a world governed by death, weakness, and separation. That is why I needed the power of the Nihindrian crystals. I did not merely wish to stave off the agony of the wound. I wanted to tear my daughter from the grasp of everything that makes us weak and mortal. You have seen a goddess. You have been face to face with demon lords. Were you awed by their greatness? Do you enjoy living in a world where your entire life cycle has been predetermined? Where everything, from your birth to what will happen to your soul after you die, has been decided for you? Or do you find, now that you have experienced the mythic power coursing through your blood, that you prefer to live in a world that you can change? A world that offers you a chance to be anything you want? How strange. You are a kindred spirit. We are so alike. Perhaps the experiment wasn't such a failure in the end. But no. No. When I poured what was left of my daughter's soul into your soul, I was expecting it to bring her back. They say death and the judgment of Pharasma purges the soul of everything it once was in life. But this cannot be true. I have researched this subject meticulously and have collected enough evidence to prove that supernatural beings born from mortal souls can recall their past. Sometimes partially, sometimes fully. I watched you day and night waiting for it to happen. For your memory to awaken, or your instincts at least. For anything familiar, something I could immediately recognize. I tested you. I asked you questions and... nothing. Nothing. If a hypothesis is proven wrong, it needs to be rejected. But the research process does not stop there. That is all I can tell you right now. It will kill me eventually, but I still have some time left. Years, or decades perhaps. But it doesn't matter. One of us will die today. The tearing of the soul, followed by a cruel and terrible death. But it will likely be quick. And it's finally time to end all this. Asking me to stop is like asking a river not to flow, or a volcano not to erupt. Death is not the end. I've spent 100 years trying to prove it, and I will not stop now. This experiment was unsuccessful, but that just means I need to adjust the initial conditions and try again. I am still alive. I still have time. You, the current you, will have to die, but only to surrender the soul you share with my daughter. I will start over. This time I will do everything differently. I will work with even greater precision. I will turn the world upside down if I must. I promise. I never thought that I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
Waiting for you to get distracted, so I can stab you in the back!
How very perceptive. But you didn't think I would make it easy, did you? I won't let you win. You need me alive. You want to use me to close the wound. But I can destroy myself before you have a chance. Save your breath. Your threats won't stop me.
My lady, I will fight for you!
I'm not going to flee for my life. You need me to seal the wound, don't you? You think you... And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the world wound. I was defeated and fell at the hand of the one I had tried to transform. My experiment ended in failure, and my life ended along with it. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the Commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. Now you know everything. I await your verdict, Goddess.
An invader of my court wishes to have their say. I shall allow it. You wrought great evil, while it stemmed from the evil that was done to you. Your actions far exceeded it. Your soul is dark, and there is only one place for you in the universe. I shall send you to the Abyss, plane of pain and fury, suffering and privation. That which you have done to others will now be done to you. So be it.